I'm Trevor Turner. Once lost, now living on purpose. I know what it's like to feel locked out of your own potential. This show is for the ones who are ready to take their power back and write a new story, 1 hour at a time. You can do it. You can do anything, and you don't need permission. That's why I started the free hour, to give people the space to change their story, to remind them you are not your past, you are not your mistakes, you are not done, you are powerful. You can find freedom, you can find yourself, and you decide what happens next. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the free hour. It's your boy Trevor Turner, and we are back with another episode in our free hour ABCs, namely in the context of mindfulness, the ABCs of mindfulness. This is an ongoing series where we talk about different subjects, different topics that help you tackle and help you remain mindful throughout your daily life. This is where we talk about the importance of staying mindful. This is where we talk about how to develop mindfulness. And this is where we talk about how mindfulness can help you get to where you want to go in life, especially for people who are coming back from making bad decisions, especially for people who are maybe found themselves down a path that they didn't want to go down, and now they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to change their trajectory. They're trying to change that direction. They're trying to change where it is that they are going in their life. This is where people who are like me, people who found themselves locked into something that they didn't want to be locked into. That can be something as simple as like how I was locked into a prison. I was locked into a jail cell. That can be locked into a wrong career. It can be locked into a bad relationship that you know you don't want to be in anymore. It can be locked into being around the wrong people. It can be locked into anything that you know is not for you, but you did it because of whatever reason, whatever influences, your environment, the people around you, you needed to pay bills, you needed to survive. And this is where we help to kind of change our path. This is where we get on to finding our purpose. This is where we get on to finding how we can be in our hour now, where we can deal with our own thoughts and be mindful. And this is how we do it in an easy and step-by-step way in an ABC format. Free hour ABCs, the ABCs of tree. So, like I said, we have an emotional intelligence series that follows the same pattern. We have a productivity that follows the same pattern. You guys are in for a special treat today, though, because we are on our mindfulness series. Before we get any further, please like the video. If you like these topics, please like the video. If there's a topic you want me to talk about, just go ahead and just drop it in the comments right now. I'll work on making a video about it. If there's something that you feel like at the end of this video has touched on you, has helped you to find mindfulness, or maybe there's something that helped you in one of our other videos and you feel like it relates to something in this one, or it build upon it in a positive way, let me know. Let me know if any of this stuff is working for you. Let me know if you are implementing these free hour practices into your life, and let me know if they're helping you. Let me know if you're either following the free hour or just implementing them into your life in any type of way. All right? So let's get into the video. Have you ever felt like your life is a constant storm? Chaotic, overwhelming, pulling you off center? I've been there too. If you've been following my journey at all, you know that I face plenty of chaos, plenty of outer chaos. From the noise of prison life, the uncertainty of transitioning back into society, or even just the stress of balancing a work life, balancing school, balancing social life, home life, and my personal growth, this personal journey, my goals and where I'm trying to get to. But here's something I learned that changed everything. Inner peace isn't something you wait for. It's something you cultivate. Inner peace is not something that is dependent upon having a peaceful outer life. Having peace in here does not depend upon whether you only have peaceful people around you. It does not depend upon whether you have the peaceful job. It does not depend upon whether you have the peaceful environment. What it depends upon is how you cultivate it. It depends upon how you view everything that's going on. It depends upon how you rise above the turmoil that's going on in your life. It depends upon how you carry yourself and how you dictate that you are going to be. Basically, how you choose you're going to be. how you choose you're going to deal with certain things, how you choose you're going to feel about certain things, how you choose what you're going to let the feelings that come, what you're going to allow them to take you to, where you're going to allow them to carry you to. Even when you feel like everything around you is uncertain, even when you know that everything around you is out of your control, there's a way to find calm at your core. There is a way to find equanimity. This is one of the things that we talked about with our emotional intelligence series way back for the letter E. It's about being the calm, the stillness when everything around you is turmoil. It's about having something deeper under the surface that keeps you anchored, that keeps you above the maelstrom of your life. It's like the eye of the hurricane. It's when everything else is swirling, when everything else is churning, when everything else is violent. There's something at your core that keeps you calm, that keeps you moving, that keeps you focused, that keeps you from getting swept up in all the bullshit that's going on. One of the things that I used to hear a lot, and I've said this a bunch of times, one of the things that I used to hear a lot, especially from people when I was locked up, is how am I supposed to feel? How am I supposed to react? How am I supposed to act? And that is something that once you find this stuff that we're going to talk about today, once you find what it is that keeps you peaceful, once you find what it is that keeps you at your core, like the eye of the hurricane that keeps you at inner peace when everything else is in chaos, you will know that you can choose and you can dictate how you act, instead of reacting. When you're able to take that pause and be proactive instead of reactive. When you're able to say, no, I choose how I respond. I choose how I feel. I choose how I look at these things. And why does this matter so much? Why does it matter whether you're peaceful on the inside? Why does it matter whether you are able to let things roll off of you like water off a duck's back? Why is it important that you are able to not be reactive and not fight fire with fire or not try to be a storm in a storm? Because inner peace is a foundation of clarity. Inner peace is a foundation of good decision making and emotional strength. And we talk about this all the time. If you make decisions in the heat of emotion, they are normally bad decisions. Without it, we risk becoming reactive, overwhelmed, and losing ourselves in situations beyond our control. If you put yourself into a situation where you cannot control your feelings, or if you allow yourself to be put into that situation, if you allow yourself to make a decision when you are in the midst of feelings that you cannot control, guess what? You have just decided to put yourself in a situation that you cannot control as well. I remember vividly, sitting in my cell during lockdown with only an hour out each day. And at first, the noise in my mind was louder than the silence in my cell. I couldn't wait to get out. I couldn't wait to just be out of my cell, even if it was for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes. One of the things that comes to you when you find that inner peace is that you're able to sit with yourself. And I couldn't sit with myself. That silence was deafening. That silence was ringing. That silence made my skin crawl. That silence made me uncomfortable. It made me like, I can't just sit here. I can't just be with me. I can't be me. But one day I realized something crucial. I couldn't control how long they'd lock that door. But I could control what I did mentally and emotionally during that time. That's when I started to cultivate inner peace, right where I was. When I realized that there were certain things that I could not control, that were outside of my power and outside of what I could touch, outside of what I could influence, but I realized that there was so much that I could. I wanted to get out of that cell so bad because I was uncomfortable in my own skin. I was uncomfortable with who I was as a person. And I couldn't get out of the cell. So I had a choice, right? God Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I was given wisdom in that moment. And he said, you know what? You did the crime, now you have to do the time. You have to accept the fact that you are not going to be able to come out of this cell. You are not going to be able to come out of this county jail. You are not going to be able to come out of this system. You're not going to be able to come out of this prison. Okay, cool. I'm going to accept that. I'm going to let that go. I can't do anything about it. But you know what you can do something about? The way you look at yourself. You know what you can do something about? The way that you feel about yourself. You know what you can do something about? What you do with the time that you are in this cell. What you do with the time that you are outside of this cell. You have so much more power than you think you know. And when I finally realized that, when I finally got to that point, I started to develop and cultivate my calm, my inner peace. When I was able to just sit with myself and find that core of myself that could withstand all of the stuff that was going on outside and around me. So let's get to it real quick. What exactly do I mean by inner peace? And how can we find it? Even in our toughest moments. Let's get into it. So let's clarify. What exactly do we mean by inner peace? In our previous conversations about equanimity, keeping balanced and composed in every situation, we touched on a powerful idea. Inner peace isn't the absence of challenges, it is our response to them. Inner peace goes even deeper. It's about maintaining a state of calm within, even when life around you is anything but calm. Inner peace does not wait for perfect circumstances. Inner peace says, you know what, I love who I am. I've made my decisions. I have my regrets. It's not about having no regrets. It's not about regretting the decisions that you've made, but it's also not about, it's not about constantly ruminating on your bad decisions. It's about accepting the fact that, hey, this is where I'm at. And I talked a little bit about it with the video I did on acceptance, accountability, and action. It's about taking responsibility for where you are. It's about saying, okay, this is where I'm at. This is who I am. I can't change what I look like. I can't. Well, my facial, I can, to a certain extent, you can. You can work out. You know, you can change your hairstyle. You can get tattoos. You can get surgery to a certain extent, but you can't change your bone structure. You can't change your height. You can't change the way that your body is shaped to a certain extent. You can't change whether you're gifted in certain areas or not. You can't change necessarily whether you're artistic or not. Now, you can try to work on certain things, but the thing is you need to accept who you are. That's the beginning of it. Because it doesn't wait for anything on the outside to start working. What it waits for is for you to start cultivating. It's about being able to say, you know what? I act on the world. The world doesn't act on me. One of the things that I realized kind of early in this last go around, and it's something that I've done myself, is that a lot of times, especially people who've done things wrong, is we act like the victim. We act like almost innocent bystanders in our own stories when it comes to when we've done things wrong. When we've done the wrong things, when we've made mistakes, when we need to step up and take accountability, we are acting like everything happened to us, like the world happened to us. Like, this is what happened to me when I was growing up, and that's why I made these decisions. This is what happened to me in my relationship, and that's why I made these decisions. This is what happened to me in the past, and that's why I made these decisions. And what happens is that when the chaos of the world gets into that extent, you will never be able to find inner peace. But when you are able to stop and say, hey, no, I made those decisions. I act on the world. The world does not act on me. The world may try to act on me, but I choose how I respond. I can be proactive. I can be the one who makes the choice at the end of the day. And when you do that, it gives you a measure of peace, because even when everything else around you is a storm, even when everything else around you is chaos, you can decide not to be. You can decide to slow down. Let something stress you out, or don't let something stress you out. You can decide that. Think of inner peace like the eye of a hurricane. No matter how fierce the winds are around you, there's a stillness at your core. That calm center lets you become proactive instead of reactive. And I love the way that the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh puts it. Peace is every step. What he's really saying is peace isn't some distant goal you chase. It isn't something way down the line that you're waiting for to happen. It isn't something that you are chasing an outside external factor. It's something you can practice and choose in every single moment. It's something that you can decide to do now. You don't have to wait on anything to get it. You can decide to do it right now. The way that you were born, right now. The way that you are, right now. Who you are is enough. You were born enough. You already have it in you. You just need to decide to do it. You just need to decide to start trying and to start doing it. Now, this understanding empowers us to take control of our emotional state. It helps us shift away from a victim mindset and into clarity and intentionality. It helps us to not be the innocent bystander in our narrative. In my life story, I am not an innocent bystander. In my life story, I am not a victim. In my life story, I am not fully a result or a product of my upbringing, my environment, who raised me, how they raised me, my friends, or anything. I am a result of a string of habits, of thoughts, of decisions, of whether or not I was able to act on the world or whether or not I let the world act on me. And now I don't let the world act on me, and that's how I'm able to have peace when everything around me is going to shit. But it didn't come easily for me. In prison, even in my old life, chaos and stress, they were everywhere. Inner peace, it seemed impossible. But through mindfulness, meditation, awareness, I realized something very important. I could find peace within those walls amid constant stress. If I could find peace, if I could find that peace being with myself when I had never been comfortable with myself, and being alone with myself when I'd never been okay with doing that, then I could take that anywhere. I could take it anywhere. It's something that I found when I was able to just say, you know what? I'm going to be okay with who I am today in this moment. I can take that literally anywhere. And that's what I'm doing today. This wasn't just survival. This is how I started to thrive. It literally changed me. It transformed my reactions. It allowed me to become proactive, to take that pause between stimulus and response. I'm no longer reactive. I no longer let the world act on me. I no longer let the world rage bait me into being a violent person. I no longer let the world dictate whether I'm going to be successful or not. I no longer let the world dictate whether I'm going to get good grades or not. I no longer let the world or the bad schools that I went to or whatever the case tell me that I'm not going to do well. Tell me that I'm not going to make good money. Tell me that I'm not going to be able to get a job. Tell me that I'm not going to come back from felonies and being in prison when statistics say that like 90% of us go back to prison. I'm not going to let that happen because I found this inner peace. It helped me to step fully out of the victim mentality. I write my own stories. But maybe you're wondering, why should inner peace matter practically? So let's explore exactly how inner peace can impact you in meaningful ways. So we've defined inner peace, and I've talked a little bit about what it means for me, but why should it matter to you personally? So inner peace offers practical, real-life benefits. First of all, it's better decision-making. We talked about decision-making in the midst or the height of emotions is bad. They're normally bad decisions. When you cultivate inner peace, you pause, you reflect, you choose intentionally rather than simply reacting out of fear, frustration, or stress. Decisions guided by intense emotions tend to be short-sighted. They tend to be what makes you feel the best now. It's about chasing pleasure. It's about avoiding pain in the short term. Inner peace provides clarity to align your choices with your values. One of the things that I talked to my coworker, he just randomly asked me, like, "Hey, man, like, give me your best piece of advice." I think it's something he was doing for like a service project, so they could get some extra hours of work or whatever. But he asked me, what's your best piece of advice? And I said, everything you do, make sure that it leads to where you want to go. Everything you do. If you make decisions based upon short-term emotions, based upon temporary emotions that are influenced by the chaos of everything that's going around you, guess what? Those decisions don't give a fuck if they're going towards where you want to go. They don't care about your goals. They don't care about your long-term vision. They don't care about where it is that you're trying to go. They just care about feeling good in the moment. Improve relationships. When you're calm, you genuinely listen and empathize rather than defend or attack. Inner peace allows healthier boundaries, clearer communication, and deeper connections. When you are dealing with somebody from a place of emotion, from heightened emotions, and this is difficult. This is not easy. This is not easy stuff. It's not something that I would even claim to be as easy, especially when relationships are based upon emotions. But when you deal with somebody solely out of heightened emotions, and you don't allow that peace to cultivate, and say, okay, this is where I want this relationship to go, and I'm happy and at peace and at content with this relationship, even though right now I feel angry, even though right now I feel disappointed, even though right now I feel upset, even though right now I might feel betrayed, whatever the case. If you are approaching it in that heightened sense of emotion, you will not get the results that you want. The relationship will actually deteriorate before your eyes. And before you know it, you'll be like wondering where that person that you fell in love with went. At the same time that they're looking at you as somebody completely different than who they fell in love with. Because they fell in love with somebody who was calm. They fell in love with somebody who could smile. They fell in love with somebody who was not always tripping, not always angry, not always reacting. Inner peace helps keep that person and enhance productivity. Inner peace reduces mental distractions and it helps you focus. A peaceful mind lets you prioritize clearly. It helps you manage your time better and approach tasks with purpose rather than chaos. One of the things that happens with me is when I have peace, no matter how hectic my day is, I'm able to just stick to a schedule. I'm able to just say, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing at this time. We talk about all the time, the time blocking, the batching. We talk about it all the time, not only in our productivity series, but in all of our series. When you are able to have a routine, when you are able to have something that is predictable in your life, like when it comes to like your work and stuff like that, it helps you to keep clarity. Inner peace is the same way. Inner peace helps you to manage and navigate that. It helps you to, like, when somebody's coming in saying, oh man, like this is going on in this department, we need to help put those fires out. You'll be able to calmly and with a peaceful manner tackle that and then move right back into the task that you were doing before. Move right back into the task that you need to do to get what you need done. The things that your employment contract covers, the things that you are responsible for. Yes, there are going to be times when you are going to have to step up and help somebody else, but there are also going to be times when your boss is saying, like, that's not what you were hired for. And I know it's like a catch-22, but if you have the inner peace, you'll be able to navigate those situations. You'll be able to also say no, because that pressure won't touch you. Research by Dr. Herbert Benson at Harvard clearly supports this. His relaxation response studies found mindfulness and meditation lower stress hormones, improve emotional resilience, and increase the ability to manage life's challenges. This matters deeply because reducing stress allows you to thrive. Inner peace becomes your secret advantage. It's about thriving and not just surviving. It's about having resilience. It's about having grit. If you're able to just clench your teeth and get after it, then you will do so much better and go so much farther, but it's so much easier if you're able to do it from a place of calm, from a place of relaxation, from a place of, no, I really, really want this. This is really, really what I'm going to go after. This is really, really what I desire, that white heat of desire, if you can carry that with a calm manner and chase after it with a calm manner and have that resilience no matter how many times you fall down, no matter how many times you fail, and still be able to get up after it with a smile on your face, imagine just how much better you'll do. For me, practicing inner peace regularly transforms how I deal with conflicts, stress, and frustration. For me, this is not theoretical. It became my new normal. Ultimately, it gave me my power back. One of the things that I really want y'all to realize and understand is that as I'm going through these topics with you, as I'm going through these videos with you, is that these are literally transformation in real time. These are literally the steps that I used, and I'm trying my best to explain them the best way possible. But these are the things that I built into my own life to get where I am now from where I was before. I'm trying my best to show you guys in the Paroli Paradise series. I'm trying to show you guys in the 5 years from now series of how far I've come. If you would understand just how far I've come, and it didn't happen overnight, it took years. If you could just put that into perspective, you would see how important or how effective these things are. Because when I say, look, I started down here, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, just piece of shit, right? Didn't give a fuck about nothing but myself, getting high, getting some money, whatever the case. And now I'm like up here. That's a huge difference, right? The majority of people I'm talking to are here already. You're just locked into a career you don't want. You're just locked into a relationship that you know you need to leave. You're just locked into some shit that you know that you can do better. You know that you can do better. You know that you can thrive. You know that you're talented. You know that you got something going for you. You know that you don't have as many obstacles as you think you do. You just need to start figuring out where to start. You're already here. Imagine how much further you're going to go if you put this stuff into practice. Imagine how much further you're going to go. And I'm going to be right there on the sidelines like, yo, get that shit, my guy. Get that shit, homegirl. Get that shit, because it's something that it made me feel so different every single day. It's just to where I'm excited about dealing with every single day, knowing that I'm going to be able to tackle no matter what comes my way and just still be like, no, I'm cool, I'm good, and not just like faking and funking. But here's a real question. So how do we practically build the inner peace into our daily routines? So let's explore some clear steps that we can start today. So how can we build inner peace practically? How can you build it into everyday life? So we got a couple different strategies I'm going to go over. And mind you, you can integrate these into your free hour practice, whether they're 15 minutes, whether they're 30 minutes, whether you decide that one day you want to go ahead and do this and that's your whole free hour practice, whether you do your free hour in the morning and you want to start in the morning, whether you do it at night and you want to end your day with it, no matter where these three strategies will fit into them, and they don't take that long, and they will start to help you to cultivate the inner peace that you can carry through with you the rest of the day when you got to deal with the bullshit at work, or at the house, or at school, or wherever you got to deal with the bullshit that tries to knock you out of having that inner peace. Strategy 1, mindful breathing. This is the outer shift. Your breath connects directly to your emotional state. When you consciously control your breath, you shift your body into a manual release mode, forcing calm upon your chaos. It's like grabbing anxiety by the scruff of the neck. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Hold briefly. Exhale gently for 6 counts. You can also do box breathing where you inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold that for 4. One of the things about it is you don't need to, it doesn't necessarily matter the count, because you have the 5, 7, 8 breathing, you have the box breathing, you have the belly breathing, you have the, you have all sorts of different tempos and all sorts of different counts. But the thing about it is that this is the physical shift This is the physical, like when I say it's like grabbing anxiety by the scruff of the neck, this is where you are able to say, okay, stuff is starting to go on out here and it's affecting me in here. So you're able to say no and just kind of like shift your outside inside. Shift what's focusing on the chaos out here into focusing on something in here, and you just grab it by the scruff of its neck and say, no, not right now, not today, calm down. And the breathing will actually help you to stop really tensing up. It will help you to stop focusing on that or stop ruminating on what's going on. It will help you to do the physical shift to where you're able to bring your body into peace. One of the things that happens is you need to kind of, and you might need to take a look at when stuff isn't going right on the outside, what reacts first? Do you get tensed up? Does your breathing get shallow? Does your neck start to hurt in the back? Do you start kind of going like that, like how I do? When I get nervous, my neck gets really, really stiff. So even that's one of the reasons you might see me on camera, and I'm always like this all the time, because my neck gets stiff and I get like kind of like and I have to figure out how to like loosen myself up, and I have to figure out how to do all those things. If that's what hits you first when all of this stuff starts going on out here, this is the strategy you want to go after first, because what it does is it calms your body down. It helps you to relax, and it addresses some of the symptoms of that inner not being at peace. And let's talk about the second shift, our inner shift, with daily reflection and journaling. So where mindful breathing quickly induces peace, journaling cultivates it deeply within. So the mindful breathing is like forcing ourselves, like it induces it. It brings about that state of calm, right? But what happens with the breathing is that it forces us into some calm at the moment, but it's only the first step. The second step is going to be our daily reflection or journaling. This inner work, it clears mental clutter and it creates genuine emotional calm. Write your thoughts and feelings down daily. I want you to reflect on what brought you chaos. I want to reflect on what it was that broke through your armor. I want you to reflect on when you started getting tensed up. I want you to reflect on what was going on through your day and ask yourself why. This is where we really start to unpack stuff. Unpacking this stuff is so super important. Why did you feel like that? Why did it make you get into that frame of mind? Why did it make you get into that chaos? Why did it get you there? Write all of them things down. Get them things out. This is what starts to cultivate the peace, because as soon as you start to unpack the baggage, you don't have to carry it around no more. If you unpack the baggage, you can leave it at home. You don't have to carry it with you everywhere. Strategy 3, gratitude practice. This is our mental shift, where before we're grabbing anxiety by the scruff of its neck and forcing ourselves into calm and inducing it. And then we started to cultivate it with our unpacking work, with our journaling work. This is where we get the mental shift to start looking at it and start looking at things with a perspective of peace. Gratitude practice. Gratitude retrains your focus to acknowledge peace. It actively reshapes your mindset towards positivity. This is where you start looking at things and realizing that chaos has nothing to do with you. Start looking at things and start seeing the peace in situations instead of the chaos in situations, where you start seeing like, okay, you know what? I don't like dealing with that person. I don't like dealing with that person, but I'm thankful that I'm in an opportunity where I have to deal with that person, right? I'm thankful that I can. I'm thankful that I don't like this job that much, but I'm thankful I got the job for right now. I'm thankful for every day of experience this is giving me, but it's also accepting the fact that you don't like the job. It's also accepting the fact that that person brings chaos. It's also accepting the fact that that person brings chaos. It's just acknowledging that you don't have to deal with that chaos. It's acknowledging that you can look for a silver lining, that you can look for a different way to feel about it, that you can continue to be peaceful, that you can continue to be the eye in all these storms. And I practice these strategies daily. And they genuinely transform my life, especially the gratitude. Breathing exercises were like my rescue inhaler from chaos. This is when I started to feel anxiety in my cell, and I started to feel like, get down on myself and start to feel like, super depressed and all that stuff. I hit myself with the breathing. It's like an EpiPen for all that, that chaos that tries to come in and make you feel like you're less than. Journaling, it untangles the emotions because I wasn't understanding why I felt certain ways about things. I went through cognitive behavioral therapy. I learned how to unpack. I learned that journaling is a great way to unpack, but you have to dig deeper and you have to ask why. You can't just say, this person looking at me made me feel a certain way, and that's it, and you're done. You have to say, why did him staring at me make me feel a certain way? Why does her staring at me make me feel a certain way? Like, why does me as a man, as an individual, why do I not only got a problem with dudes staring at me, but I got a problem with females staring at me? Why do I feel the same? Why do I feel threatened? Why do I feel so much fear? Why do I feel like anything could happen to me at any point in any given time? Why do I feel like in my relationships this could happen? Why do I feel like that? Unpack it. Go deeper. Find out why. Gratitude shifts the mental lens. It helps me to see the good in things. It helps me to see that, yeah, my plate is full. I got a full plate. But I'm the one who said I wanted to eat. Together, they've allowed me to embody peace. But life still throws challenges. So next, let's explore maintaining inner peace even when life gets messy. Life isn't always calm. How do you maintain peace when things inevitably get chaotic? Because things are going to get chaotic. No matter what it is that you do to cultivate your inner, life is going to still try to throw a storm at you every now and again. Maintaining peace isn't about a stress-free life. It's about building resilience to quickly return to calm. Cultivating inner peace is not going to do anything about all the stuff that's going on the outside of you. That's one of the things that I think is kind of lacking or maybe incorrect with a lot of the things that we talk about. Like, if you fix yourself, it's going to fix everything around you. And that's not how life works. Like, you fix yourself and it's going to make you feel better. You fix yourself, it's going to make you look better. It's going to make you smile more. It's going to make you feel happier. It's going to help your perspective on things. But it's not going to change the fact that you got a shitty job and a shitty boss. It's not going to change the fact that you don't get along with your family. It's not going to change the fact, like, especially if you don't get along with people because of those people, what's going to happen is maybe it's going to make you want to more firmly enforce those boundaries. It's not going to fix everything around you. It might just say, you know what, that's somebody that you need to avoid even more than you're already doing. It might say that, okay, forgive that person so you don't carry it into here, but that doesn't mean you need to answer their calls when they call you. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. And inner peace does not mean that you're going to have all of a sudden this just great life and it's amazing, everything's going perfect. All it means is that I have more resilience to deal with the bullshit that comes my way. Accept what you can't control. Release unnecessary stress and focus energy wisely. Consistency over intensity. Well, accept what you can't control. And I talked about the serenity prayer at the beginning, or towards the beginning. There are things that you cannot control. And one of the books that talks about this a lot is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It talks about your circle of influence and your circle of control, and how your circle of control is much, or your circle of concern and your circle of influence. Your circle of influence is what you can control. Your circle of concern is what you care about. And 99.9% of the time, what you care about is going to be such a larger circle than what you can actually control. When we talk about things like politics, or we talk about things like religion, or we talk about things like the economy, or we talk about things like how the world is going, like, yeah, you're able to make a vote, but at the end of the day, like, you're not actually able to influence a lot of that shit. Unless you got all sorts of millions of dollars to throw at these politicians, you can't actually control that. So one of the things is, like, you need to learn how to care about it less. Accept that there are things that you can't control. and accept the fact that that's just what it is. That's just what life is. You don't like where something is going. You just have to accept the fact that you can't change that. If you can't get off the ride, then you have to accept the fact that you're on the ride. And stop caring so much about those things that you can't control. Move on. Accept that that's what it is and move on. Consistency over intensity. Daily practices, they keep us strong. They keep peace strong. And you don't have to journal 5 pages every day. You can write a sentence. You don't have to read 15 pages out of the book that's helping you. You can read a sentence. You don't have to listen to all these positivity podcasts all day of every day. You can listen to 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening. You can listen to scraps of it here and there. If you pray, you can pray. You don't have to necessarily pray the way that they always want you to pray and be crying and speaking in tongues and pull out the oil and cast out demons every time you do it. You just need to pray. You need to read your word. You need to pray, and you need to attend some type of fellowship and gathering. You don't need to do it in the way that they want, that the most intense of the people do it. Anchor practice. Have one simple practice, like a breathing or mantra, as your immediate go-to during stress. For me, that was the breathing, the box breathing. Like I said, like my body gets tensed up, like, so I get nervous, and breathing brings me back to the reality, to where I can open myself up to the other exercises. Look, when I came home from prison, maintaining peace required me to stay proactive. It required me to be proactive. Life still obviously throws challenges, but now I have tools. Acceptance of reality, consistency in my practices, and an anchor to calm me quickly. And look, these strategies aren't theoretical. This isn't something that I talk about based upon books that I've read only. Like, yeah, I got these from books. I got these from different studies. I got these from YouTube videos. I got these from podcasts. But I applied them to my life, and I saw if they worked. There are things that work. There are things that don't. There are things that I'm able to stick to. There are things that I can't. There are things that really helped me, and there are things that weren't. And having a lot of these practices that I talk about to maintain this inner peace, to where people say, like, hey man, like, you are really calm, you're really level-headed, like, with everything that's going on, like, I don't see how you maintain that. I don't see how you keep that attitude. I don't see how you keep that going for yourself. It's because I have the inner peace. And these strategies help me get there. They're not just theoretical. They sustain inner peace through life's up and downs. And that's it. So we've defined inner peace. We've explored some of its benefits. We've shared practical steps. I've shared a lot more of my story with you guys, a lot more of how I bring this into my daily life, as always, my lived experience. Now it's your turn. Inner peace allows proactive clarity. It allows deeper relationships. It allows increased productivity. Here's your action step. Choose one strategy: breathing, journaling, or gratitude, and commit to practicing it every day this week. Commit to bringing one of those things into your life through your free hour practice every day this week. Breathing, journaling, gratitude. Commit. Commit to one. And guess what? If it doesn't work, there are 3 of them you can try. You'll know after a few days if it's going to work or not. You might not even know until the whole week has gone by, and then say, you know what, that actually didn't really help me that much, and there was a reason that it was so easy to bring it into my life, because that wasn't the problem area. Like, my body wasn't the problem area. Like, dropping into a state of anxiety or depression or whatever that I have to bring myself out of through breathing was not my problem area. It was the way I looked at things. That's so you need to get to gratitude. Or it's the way I thought about things, like my feelings were bringing me up, and then everything else kind of came after that. That's journaling. That's bringing yourself into the why. Like, why do you feel this way? What about this situation is bringing you back? What about this situation is triggering you, and why is it triggering you? And then share your experience in the comments below. I'd love to hear your insights. I'd love to hear your experiences with it. I'd love to hear what works for you and what doesn't work for you. I'd love to hear anybody who's following this journey with me, letting me know, like, hey, this is helping me. Like, hey, every time I have something going on with me, I turn to some of your videos and I turn to some of your strategies. Like, hey, this has really helped me. This has really helped me get over some humps in my life. You know, whenever I hear that from people, so far I've only heard it from people in my texts, people that I know, you know, people that I know in life, and I tell them, like, hey, watch my videos and stuff, tell me what you think, and they're like, man, like, this really, really helped me out, and it kind of came on time for me. You know, I would love to hear that from some other people. I would love to hear from anybody who's watching this, anybody who's listening to it. That's one of the things I'm making the effort to now put all of my stuff on all sorts of different podcasting platforms. So you can actually watch this and the Parolee Paradise series on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You should be able to get it there. And, you know, hopefully this helps. Hopefully this helps. I'd love to hear if it does. I'd love to hear that if any of these things have helped you to cultivate some inner peace, that person that comes up and it normally just bothers the shit out of you, and they don't bother you this much, they don't make you want to lash out because you have that inner peace, let me know, because that's a victory. Inner peace isn't a destination. It's a daily choice. You deserve the strength and clarity that peace brings. So start today. Your peace is waiting.